everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. I'm Adam and this is Battle of the Beasts, battle number 20, Specials Generation. With the next two beasts of round 3. Yeah, round 3 I think it is. Mortaxe, the Skeleton Warrior versus Verak, the Storm King. Yeah, the Storm King. Right, so quick analytics. Mortaxe throughout the tournament killed, making me think now, Grashkor and Scalamanx. Verak, I cannot remember who Verak killed, so I'm just gonna double check. Of course. Right, so YouTube decided to upgrade itself. So yeah, how fun. Right. Oh god. Verak, I know, killed Okawa and I believe Verak. So let's just say Okawa and Verak, because I think that's what Verak killed. But yeah, here we are, the next two opponents to fight their way to the semi-finals. One's gonna make it to the semi-finals. One's gonna stay in the quarter-finals. So fun. Now I have no idea how this video is gonna end out because unfortunately my phone while I record my videos on has slipped out of my hands and has landed on concrete. The screen is full of cracks. Luckily it still works, as you can tell by me using my phone as my camera. But hopefully it doesn't have any effects on the videos. But yeah, that's what I get for having butterfingers apparently. So with this, there's obvious size difference. Verak is ginormous compared to Mortaxe anyway. And as I said in the last Battle of the Beast video, this battle would take place in the combat arena. So, that being said, close your eyes and let me weave you a tale of how one beast kills another. Action. So, as the chamber doors open up, Mortaxe strides out and sees a pair of yellow eyes on the exact opposite of the arena in the chamber, and then after Verak takes one step forward, revealing one of his massive claws and legs, the ground beneath Mortaxe begins to tremble. However, it keeps Mortaxe unmoving. Mortaxe does not even shake with the tremble. More trembles later, Verak has strided out and instantly roars at Mortaxe. Mortaxe charges straight towards Verak, swings his scythe up and slashes it directly towards Verak. Verak doesn't move and it slashes Verak directly on the cheek. Verak doesn't even flinch, and Mortaxe looking for the damage he's done on Verak. It seems like nothing has happened at all. Not even a scratch has happened. Mortaxe tries again, swinging his scythe towards Verak again. Hits the cheek, and nothing happened again. Mortaxe starting to get a bit confused now, and holds the scythe in one hand and punches Verak as hard as he can in the face. Nothing. Swings his scythe. Nothing again. Mortaxe realizes that his weapon does nothing on Verak. Verak lets out a sound that seems like a laugh, lifts his claw up and swings it towards Mortaxe, knocking him square in the chest all the way halfway across the arena. Mortaxe gets back up to see Verak striding towards Mortaxe. And Mortaxe, realising that he can't really do much, decides the best option to do is to run away towards the walls of the combat arena. which he puts the scythe on his back, like between his cape and his back, so it's sturdy, and proceeds to climb up the combat arena walls. By the time he is a few meters up, Verak goes to reach his claw up towards Mortaxe, but Mortaxe is just out of Verak's reach. For Mortaxe's safety, he just lets out a sigh of relief, looks to his left to see one of the spectators, and see a spectator. He's like, so what Mortaxe does, he just picks up the spectator, chucks it down towards Verak. Verak swallows him whole. That was the most random thing I could have said. But yeah, so all the other spectators watching just move away from Mortaxe, fearing for their lives. And Mortaxe gets an idea. So what he does is that he stands up on the edge of the platform, and whilst Verak is watching, ready for any misstep that Mortaxe does that could lead to the end of Mortaxe's life, Mortaxe jumps off the ledge and lands directly on top of Verak, grabbing hold to the fins on top of Verak's back, so then he doesn't slip right off. He keeps one firm grip on the fin, whilst Verak shakes around, tries to reach his claws up, but can't reach Mortaxe. And Verak's trying to shake Mortaxe off, but it's not working. What Mortaxe does now, he uses his free hand and goes towards Verak's scales and digs his claws right underneath the scales, pulling it up, pulling as many scales as he can up. And when there's a good enough gap, he pulls his scythe out and lifts it up and brings it directly down on top of that fleshy part of Verak's back, which is no longer protected by the scales. Verak roars in pain and agony and realises he's going to have to do the noble thing. And what he does is that he gives way to his left side of his body and rolls onto his back. Mortaxe, seeing this happening, runs along the side of Verak towards his right, going towards his underbelly, so he doesn't get crushed by this behemoth of a beast. Verak keeps rolling around, rolling, until Verak collides with the Colosseum wall, where Mortaxe is still running along. Verak rolls the other direction, and Mortaxe runs in that direction as well. Every time his back is exposed, he just slashes at it with his scythe with one hand. Keeps running. Oh, going the other direction. Okay, we're running this way. Oh, another direction again. Yeah, basically like a game of... I don't know what the game is. I don't know, but it's actually really funny. And Verak decides he's had enough. Rolls back up where he's on his feet again. Mortaxe is still slicing towards Verak's back, but as it's the same thing, he's starting to feel less and less pain on it now, as it just became a big bloody volcano, I guess, of blood just squirting out on top of Mortaxe, covering him in Verak's blood, and covering the floor in blood as well as Verak. Verak uses his claws, grabs onto the walls of the Colosseum wall, pulls it down, pulls out a big chunk, and literally tosses the two chunks into the air. Whilst Mortaxe is still slicing down, he saw in his peripheral vision that the chunks had gone up. He looks up to see two massive chunks coming down. He swirls his scythe and getting ready to protect himself, and swings his scythe where it slices right through one of the rocks, and as quick as lightning swirls it back around again to slice the other one, where small chunks of rock just land all over Verak, not affecting him, but ruining his plan to get Mortaxe off. Mortaxe, realising that keep going for the same spot is not going to work anymore, he tries to keep his balance whilst Verak's trying to shake him off and walk along his Verak's back just to get to Verak's head. In which case, what Mortaxe does is that he grabs hold of both of Verak's antennas and pulling Verak's head up to where Verak is. Verak's front claws and front legs and claws are up in the air, trying to keep balance. And what Mortaxe does is that he literally pulls as hard as he can, and then pushes down as hard as he can, causing Verak to just slam his head into the ground. And then what he does is that he just gets both antennas and pull in the opposite direction, twists, pulls backwards, where it pulls Verak's head up, and his antennas detach from Verak's head, and his head just slams back down into the ground again. Verak, roaring in pain from losing his antenna, realizing that he can't sense any movement that's not on him anymore. So what Mortaxe does is that he decides to do a little bit of an investigation, jumps off of Verak, and Verak is just looking around as much as he can. And as soon as he turns to his right, he's greeted by Mortaxe's scythe swinging directly into Verak's right eye, causing Verak to roar in pain again, and roar in pain again, and is now blinded in one eye. Verak isn't letting Mortaxe get away though, and grabs Mortaxe with his claw, and tries to constrict Mortaxe as hard as he can, to the point where he's going to try and squeeze the life out of him. Mortaxe has an arm free and his scythe, and swings it directly towards Verak's other eye, blinding him again, causing Verak's two methods of sensing his opponents to be useless. Verak roars in pain but refuses to let go of Mortaxe, and what Mortaxe does is that he drops his scythe on purpose, and with his free arms just starts clawing at Verak's scales, pulling them off, and then forcing his hands into Verak's flesh, pulling it out one at a time, getting all the way down to the bone, to the point where he puts both hands in and snaps the bone for Verak's claw, to the point where Verak's claw just goes limp and loose, letting Mortaxe free. Verak, roaring in pain, goes to slam his other claw down on where he thinks Mortaxe will be, but he just missed. Mortaxe greets that by grabbing hold to one of Mortaxe's pincers and pulls as hard as he can whilst Verak's trying to pull his pincer back. And what happens is that Mortaxe lets go of the pincer with one of his hands, but keeps his other hand on it, grabs his scythe and digs it straight into the ground, to the point where he's literally using the scythe as support to keep his support winning this tug of war. It goes to the point where Verak's pincer just snaps backwards, and Verak, roaring in pain, goes to bite down where the pain was, and trying to bite Mortaxe. Mortaxe sees this, lets go, and moves as fast away as he can for Verak just to bite down on his own claw, causing it to be unusable, and because he broke his own claw, and Verak, being not completely defenseless but mostly defenseless due to one claw being limp and another being bitten, but bitten off but unusable to an extent. Mortaxe is confident enough to jump straight onto Verak's face, right between his blinded eyes, and pulls the scales. Thank you, dog. And pulls the scales between Verak's eyes off to reveal the flesh, to where he just digs his hand directly into that flesh, pulling it apart as he continues, to the point where he could see the skull of Verak. And what he does is that he makes a really strong and rounds up all his energy into one punch and punches into that skull, fracturing it. And he does that again and breaks right through it. What he sees is what he hears is a roar in agony and pain of Verak, and a brain, which what Mortaxe does is that, while still keeping the grip on Verak, I have you know, goes for, grabs, pulls directly out, and as soon as that happens, the roaring of Verak stops, and Verak slumps to the ground. Mortaxe drops the brain, releases his grip on Verak, and walks back to his chamber with his scythe in hand, covered in blood. That is the grimmest description I've ever seen, and probably the most brutal death I've ever seen or described. So the winner is Mortaxe, the loser is Verak. Now, I will say, this battle, I could see any of these beasts winning. Because Verak, I see, is a giant, a behemoth of a beast. And due to his scales being really strong, not really much of a weak point. However, the Mortaxe, being as small as he is able to just get on top of Verak, get to a point where he can't reach with his claws, and if he rips the scales out, kind of like for Torpix or Crestor, it was one of them, where the scales just reveal a fleshy point to where that's where Verak's weakness is. Like, injure the back to the point where he's weaker than usual, so then when the claw crushes round Mortaxe, it doesn't hurt, it won't hurt as much. But realising Mortaxe won't have much time before Verak gains all the strength he can, he has to try and break that claw just so he can, and break the other one before he can actually go for the main point to where he can kill Verak. Now, yeah, I get he could have gone straight for the heart on top of the back. Would involve a lot of reaching, no, so probably not possible. But the reason why he didn't do that is because experimentation. Mortaxe may be getting weaker as the tournament goes on due to the less amount of beasts actually in the arena now, but he's still very clever. Do not underestimate Mortaxe. Just because he's getting weaker doesn't mean he's going to lose, because he still has a chance of winning. He has just as much chance as the other beasts that made it through to the semi-finals. Me and Lucas know 3 of the beasts through to the semi-finals. Everyone else only knows 2. Question is, what are those other 2 that's going to be in the semi-finals? And the question for me and Lucas, who's going to win the next battle? But until then, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe. If you think Verak should have won, please in the comments below why you think that. However though, my word is final, and I didn't let Mortaxe win just because of bias reasons, because I do not play biasly. If I did, Vespic would have won the original tournament. She lost in round 2. I just gone with the flow of this narration that I done, and Mortaxe, being as clever as he is, won. So with that being said, peace out.